Hi everybody, my name is Jason.
I'm Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
And we are the Yahoo and the Torah channel, and we are amongst our family and we are amongst our friends, and we love you guys very, very much, and we're very excited that we have such a awesome family, that we have such a awesome set of people, set apart people, and the people of Yah are just simply amazing. And whether you're listening to this now or whether you're listening to it later, welcome everybody. And this is the house of interruptions. This is a house of odd noises. And this is the house of where we have 10 unkenneled, unchained pit bulls that live amongst us and around us. And they live as normal people do, somewhat, except they don't speak. And they do speak in their own tongue. It's really loud when they do. And so our apologies when that does happen. Mr. Caden, will you please open us with prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us all together, bringing the family back together through a week of trials and tribulations, a week of work, a week of hardships. And I ask that today is blessed, that you put the rest on your people, that you bring us all together for your word and your glory, and that your words are upon us, and that our eyes are open to what you want us to learn today, what you want us to hear today, what you want us to see today. I ask that we take this Shabbat and we make the most of it by in your presence, by staying in the word, by staying in your Torah. Thank you for all that you have given to this family, that you have blessed us enough that we can all sit here, not together, but in spirit and across the world, across everywhere in this world, that we can all learn together. I ask that today is blessed and that you bless everyone around us in Yoshua's name. Shalom.
Amen. All right, beautiful, beautiful people out there. We thank you guys again for joining us out there. Mr. Jaden, will you please give us our Shema?
Yes.
And Shema, for those who do not know, Shema means to hear and obey. And back in the days in Deuteronomy, we were told that we have something. We need to hear, and we need to listen, and we need to obey. And if nobody ever gets anything else out of this entire reading that we have, if you guys could possibly write this upon your heart, mind, and soul, what we're just about to read right here, It is a good path forward. It is the beginning of the path forward. And before we begin on that, I'd like to say that we are the people who believe that the laws, statutes, and commandments that are found in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy are the guide of life. They are the basis of all the life. It is what we call the Torah. Anything outside of that violates Deuteronomy 6:4, and we do not want to do that. And so, is it Deuteronomy 6:4? What is it? Yeah, Deuteronomy 6:4. Yeah, I kind of had their spasm there. Jade, go ahead and give us our Shema.
Hear, O Yahshua, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah Eloheinu with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates.
Okay, and so the basis of this is that we are to love our Elohim, and there's only one. There's only one Elohim. It's not a Father, Son, Holy Spirit, all in wonder setup. That has come from indoctrination. That has come from not inside Scriptures. In fact, I don't even know where. Actually, I do know where it came from. It came from around 300. It was way back after Messiah died. The Catholic Church brought this together, and they made a creed in the Creed of Nicaea, and they put this as their motto, that basically our Creator and His Son and the Holy Spirit, or as they say, is all in one. And as Christians, and as I grew up in the Christian religion, it was very hard to explain this, but they always explained it like it's an egg, right? It's all one egg, but yet you have the shell, you have the yolk, and you have the little inside stuff in there. And it doesn't make any sense when you read Scriptures. And we have a Creator, and He is a beautiful, wonderful, marvelous, just amazing Creator. And we have His Son, and He is the Son of the Most High. And when we look at the stories, the biblical stories of Abraham, when he was told to offer up his son, he got a reprieve from that. Although he was just about to lay the knife down, he got a reprieve. But our Creator and His Son did not. And our Creator went through with those actions, and it wasn't out of nowhere. This was a ultimate sacrifice, and our Messiah Yahushua. And for those who do not know who Yahushua was, there's no J's in Hebrews, and so in Hebrew, in the Hebrew language, and so there could have never ever been a person named Jesus. And so when we start looking at traditions of men and things of that nature where there's no J's, we want to get the names as close as possible. That's why we call instead of God, we call our Creator Yahuwah, and we call His Son Yahushua, which is Yah saves, or Yah salvation, or salvation is amongst us. There's a lot of different ways that they say that translates. But He walked the Torah perfectly. He went and He walked Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy to a perfection. So that when He was slaughtered, when He was killed, when they destroyed Him upon this tree, they destroyed His life, that when He was raised back up, He had all the glory, He had all the esteem. He is our Melchizedek priest. He is the one who is our ruler. He will be our king. And this is who we need to follow. And if you want to be a follower of Christ, and that is if you say you're a Christian, it means you're a follower of Christ. If you don't obey the laws of our Creator, you are absolutely not a follower of the Christ, of our Mashiach. You are a follower of Hasatan, because our Mashiach followed the laws, statutes, and commandments. In Matthew 7, he clearly says that those who do not walk in the Torah will be told to depart. They're going to hear some very hard words. And so we want to let everybody know that the way forward that we have found as a family is with the Torah, is with our Messiah, and is with obedience to our Creator. And when you first start walking this Torah walk, it may seem odd. It may seem a little bit different than the world. But that's the point. We are supposed to be different than the world. We're supposed to look different. We're not supposed to smell different. Everything about us is supposed to be different. We're supposed to be unique. It's called set apart. We're set apart people for a reason. And you're not set apart if you're sitting there eating your bacon, if you're sitting there worshiping on the wrong day, if you're living in iniquity and you're unable to resolve that iniquity, you're breaking the heart of our Creator, and you're slapping our Messiah across the face, because he didn't die as a sin-free card. He did not die so that we can continue on in pornography, in alcoholism, in drug abuse. That is what he did not die for. He died that we can break the curse of the Torah, which we all fall under from the time that we are understanding of right and wrong. The first time we put our hand in that cookie jar, we fall and take that cookie without permission. We fall under the curse of the Torah. And so we have to have a Messiah. We had to have a way forward, and our Creator has provided that for us. All right, so Miss Nicole, who do we have in the chat?
We have Brother Glenn and Sister Marina. They're both here. We have... I'm close enough.
She
enough.
speaks like a mouse.
No. We have Brother Jeremy. We have Zachariah, Z, Damon, and Rhiannon. We have... I don't know how to say that name.
I think Theos?
Theos is somebody new, so welcome.
Yeah, welcome, brothers. Brothers and sisters, welcome.
Sylvia, Dreg, Joanna, the Grand. Philly's here. Who else am I missing? I think I got everybody.
All right, and we would like to also say hi to Carla and Joey, who we know watch a little bit later. We love you guys. We love you all, family. And if you guys notice, the majority of everybody that we know has a wrench in the chat. A wrench for us means that you are family, that we trust you, that we love you. I would also like to urge just a little bitty caution on that, because a lot of you probably have never seen that wrench before.
And there's a couple that I need to add to.
Okay, give me a second. If you have power with the wrench, you have the ability that you can accidentally delete things and block people and do all sorts of things. And the dogs are getting a little wild right now, and so I'm probably gonna have to escort Miss Nicole, or have her escort the hogs outside. And we call them the hogs, but they're the dogs, and they're just bad. Give us 1 second. There we go. All right, let's go outside, guys. Go outside. Eli, unhook the dog from your arm. Let's go. All right. So we got the dogs, and they're going outside, and Tubby hopefully is out there as well. And again, we're so sorry, guys. It is the house of distractions, and these guys, they wind up at the beginning, and then they wind up at the end. And so, yeah, we got to get them in and out. Okay, so let us begin. What we're going to do. Did I miss anything? Anyone? Yeah, back to the wrench. Just be super careful if you guys have wrenches. It essentially, it's a sign of, from us, it's a sign of love. You guys have super special powers. All right. Yeah, Brother Glenn says, I thought the wrench was just to keep my screws tight. Yeah, absolutely. It's to keep all of our screws tight. And yeah, so here we go, guys. So what we're going to do right here is we are going to go over something that, again, we speak of this every Shabbat. And it's not something that is new, right? We are not the very first people to ever go over the laws, statutes, and commandments on Shabbat. All throughout Scripture, this is the premise of understanding. And as time has progressed, we are in an age where we are learned. We all can read. We all can write. And back in the day, it wasn't always so. And so getting these laws, statutes, and commandments for the regular folks back in the day was something different. You had to get to a priest. You had to get to people who understood this. You had to get to people who learned. But we live in such a knowledgeable world right now, to where we're so far advanced that we have this all at our fingertips. And so we want to carry on this same tradition, because it is a tradition of Yah that we go over this stuff. And back in the days when Ezra was bringing the people out of captivity, and when he was talking to the people and bringing them up, people were wailing and weeping, and they were joyous and rejoiceful. And when they heard these laws, statutes, and commandments, this is the same kind of feelings and the same kind of euphoria that all of us can get, because these are the guidelines to life. These are the things that will bring us closer to our Creator. And these are also the things that will drive us away from our Creator if we do not keep them, if we do not write them on our hearts, minds, and souls. So, and did you say hi to Gran? I just saw her pop in. Yes. Okay. So I just saw that name pop up there. So it's so nice to have all of you guys here. It is really such a good family. We don't have a tremendous amount of family. We have the people around us, and then we have you guys, and that is amazing. That is just, it's really good times. All right, so we are going to go over these laws, statutes, and commandments, and I'm gonna have to pop the chat off for a second here so that I can get through these. And This is the same kind of stuff. You guys are sitting at the same kind of place that the people back in the day are, and I hope you guys get that same kind of euphoria when we hear about this kind of stuff. If there's any kind of questions that you guys have, or anybody wants to go over any of these laws, statutes, and commands, sometimes we go a little too fast because it just, it's the same kind of stuff for us. But a lot of people get this new for the very first time, and this one video that we do on Shabbat gets to far more people than any of the other videos that we do on our channel. And so if anyone has any questions, let's put them out there, because for us, we've gone over these a lot, and they make a tremendous amount of sense, all of it. It's just, there's nothing of these laws that become a ball and chain, that become some sort of a problem in our lives. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It is the anti-problem. They are the solutions to the kingdom to come and the solutions to life. And if the world lived under the Torah of our Creator, the world would be an amazing place. But right now, most people, I would say probably 95% of the world or better, has zero idea that they exist. They don't care if they do, and they live under a whole nother set of doctrines. So here we begin. Be fruitful.
Multiply. Replenish the earth.
Subdue it, have dominion over the fish, fowl, and every living creature.
The herb bearing in every tree is for food.
Man and woman should build their own families.
Master sin.
Every clean living thing that lives shall be food for you.
Do not eat the blood.
Walk before me and be perfect.
Guard Yahuwah's covenant, laws, statutes, and commandments.
Times 53 plus times, my friends. Look at this, and look at this time. It's been reiterated over and over and over. This is probably the most important commandment, besides loving our Elohim with all our heart, mind, and soul, that we can do. And if you think that you love our Creator with all your heart, mind, and soul, but you don't love His commandments, that's, you're living in a deceptive world. Okay, every male shall be circumcised at 8 days old.
Teach your children the commands and guard the way of Yahuwah.
Remember Yahuwah's name for all generations.
Keep the Passover, Pesach.
Keep the feast of unleavened bread, matzah.
There is one Torah for the stranger and one for the Hebrew.
Sanctify all firstborn to Yahuwah.
There are no mighty ones before Yahuwah.
You shall not make graven images.
Not bring Yahuwah's name to naught.
Keep the Shabbat.
Honor your parents.
Do not kill.
Do not break wedlock.
Do not steal.
Do not make false accusations against your neighbor.
Do not covet anything of your neighbors.
Do not make an altar from rock that a tool has touched.
Do not go up to the altar by the steps.
If a man steals cattle, he shall restore it 5 times.
The laws for Yahuwah's laws for criminals.
Do not lie with beasts.
Do not make sacrifice to other gods.
Do not oppress the stranger, fatherless, or widow.
Do not charge your brother interest.
If you borrow your neighbor's raiment, return it to him before sunset.
Do not curse the ruler of your people.
Do not eat what is torn of any beast.
No false reports.
Do not follow a multitude of evil.
Do not judge unrighteously against the poor.
Bring back your enemy's cattle if you find it going astray.
Help the animals of your enemy.
Stay away from rumors and gossipers.
Take no bribes.
Do not oppress the stranger. Love the stranger.
Give your land rest in the 7th year.
Do not mention any pagan names.
Keep the feast of Yahuwah.
Do not cook your goat in his mother's milk.
Obey the messenger Yahuwah sends before you.
Do not bow down to other Elohim.
Serve Yahuwah.
Make no covenant with other Elohim or outsiders of the land.
Do not make or use this anointing oil on a normal person, and again, the same perfume. And these were Levitical concoctions of recipes that were put together, and we are told not to mess around with them. Even though he gave us a formula, we're not to put them in that certain order and use them.
Do not eat the fat.
Do what you say you are going to do.
Return what is your neighbor's.
Obey Yahuwah's dietary laws. And with that, what that is the dietary laws. Leviticus 11 talks about the dietary laws, and we live in a world where everything is we're living in a deceptive world. The world, everything around us, and there is pig and swine in just about everything. You can get it in like gelatin capsules that they give us for basic headache medicine. End up with pig and swine and things of that nature. In Leviticus 11, it tells us what is clean food and what is unclean food. And that is one of the absolute hardest thing any Christian begins with, is getting rid of the pig. In Christianity, we are taught that our Messiah made all food clean. And that is absolutely a lie. It is straight from the pits of hell. And it isn't because our Creator doesn't want us to have that salty, great taste of pig swine, which once you get rid of it, it becomes really nasty. It is that it makes you sick. Unclean animals are not healthy for humans. And so the Levitical guidelines in Leviticus 11 is simply to keep us alive and keep us healthy and not to violate our body. The kind of parasites and the kind of disgusting stuff that end up in pigs that people fry up You can literally take a can of Coca-Cola and put it on a chunk of swine, and there will be little worms that come out of it. I've seen it over and over. You can YouTube it. It's just, there is parasites that live in pigs, and pigs are the bottom feeders of the world. They will go around, they will eat carcasses, they will eat humans, they will eat absolutely everything. They eat their own feces, they eat their own children in some cases. They are nasty, nasty critters, and the way they were built is that they were the little land clingers, right? They are the ones that go around and cling this up. In certain villages, when people would use the bathroom, they would have the pigs just come around, and the pigs would eat up all the feces of the humans. These things are absolutely disgusting, and people are like, well, this is the great white meat. It's cheap. It's great stuff, and it's not. We've all been hoaxed, and we've all been lied to about all of it, and pig is not cling. Neither is lobster. Neither is shrimp. Neither is crawfish. Is it crawfish? Is it crawfish? Do we know crawfish?
We know lobsters are bad.
Yeah, lobsters are
Shrimps are
bad.
bad.
Catfish, I think, are bad as well. But if you guys have any kind of questions, read inside of Leviticus 11 and see what is cling and what is uncling. And that is where we begin our separation for this kingdom road. Anything in the
I
chat?
just want to say, he did make all foods clean, but pig is not food.
Right. Yes. And Brother Glenn has told, yeah, well, all food has been made clean, but yes, you have to have the Leviticus 11 definition of what food is. Pig is not food. And so it's not made clean. All right. Now, women's time of separation. You stay away from them. Give them their time off. Okay.
Obey Yahuwah's hygiene laws.
Keep the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippurim.
Do not uncover the nakedness of your family.
Do not take a woman's sister for wife.
Do not lie with a woman in her uncleanness.
You shall not sacrifice children to Moloch.
Do not be a sodomite.
Be holy.
Do not reap the corners of your field, or you shall not glean your vineyard.
Do not deal falsely or defraud your neighbor.
Do not lie or be a liar.
Pay your workers for the day's wage. They are due.
Do not harm the disabled.
Do not endanger your neighbor.
Do not hate your brother.
Rebuke your neighbor for his sin.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Do not diverse your cattle.
Do not mingle your seed.
Do not mingle linen and wool.
Do not lie with a taken woman.
Do not eat the fruit of the trees for 3 years.
Do not practice sorcery.
Do not round your beard or the corners of your head.
Do not cut yourself for the dead.
Do not get tattoos.
Do not prostitute your daughter.
Do not defile your temple.
Do not consult the medium.
Respect your elders.
Have correct weights and measures.
Do not walk in the manners of the nations.
Keep the feast of the first fruits. Shavuot, the Yom Count.
Keep the feast of trumpets, Yom Kippur.
Keep the feast of Sukkot, Shemini Atzeret.
All right, I'm going back over here because we are actually on, tomorrow is our Shavuot, and I won't say ours, but I believe the date that we have for Shavuot. And I know a lot of people have kept this prior to this, and we haven't put out a tremendous amount of guidance on this at all. Because I did not want to get into the calendar conflict, because it seems like that is the greatest way that people just get completely very upset about all of this stuff. And I guess it comes down to attempting to let Scripture decipher Scripture. And as far as those who are keeping Shavuot tomorrow, happy Shavuot. And it is a feast day, so let's continue on. Okay, and if you blaspheme the name of Yahuwah, you shall be put to death.
If you kill your neighbor's animal, you must give him another.
Repay injury for injury.
Honor the Jubilee year.
Confess your sins to Yahuwah and repay who you have trespassed against.
The Torah of being a Nazir.
Wear tzitzit on the four corners of your garment.
Yeah, and let's talk about tzitzits for a little quick thing, because a lot of people don't actually wear tzitzits, and you know the commandment is for the children of Yisrael, and a lot of women don't actually wear tzitzits because they do not believe they think it's for a man, but I believe it is for everybody, that it is part of our who we are. It is part of being set apart. And you know, you definitely we've been wearing tzitzits, I don't know for how many years have we been 6 7 years 8 a lot of years, and you will pick up people out and about that will see you in tzitzits. First and foremost, you will find the Jewish folks, because the Jewish folks, they will wear white in their tzitzits only, and they think that you can't really have it, and the command is it's purple, it's blue, and it is something that we have, that we are to be set apart with. And in the Old Testament, right, and we're actually, as Boss Clan, we're proofreading this right now, and our eyes are not quite bleeding, but they're getting there. And it's taking hours and hours and hours, but we just read about this, and we read about the tzitzits, and the entire story of tzitzits is amazing. Because right before there's a giant uprising, right before this fella named Korach decides that he's going to become the man, he decides that he is going to, run it on Moshe and the rest of them. And it stemmed from Moshe giving this command. The chapter right before Korah was Moshe was giving the command that the children of Yashrael need to wear tzitzits on the four corners of their garments. And that was probably the last straw for this guy, and he's deciding that he was under oppression of Moshe, and that Moshe had come out and put them under some kind of thing. And it didn't go well for this guy, right? It did not go well at all. And one of the only times that you ever hear Moshe basically dooming somebody, this was it. And he told Yah, please don't accept the sacrifice. And Yah burned them all up and sucked down the families, and it was game over. And so tzitzits are something important that we should wear. And let's continue on. The law of whoever touches a corpse.
Follow Yahuwah's laws of inheritance. The Torah of keeping your oath to Yahuwah.
Do not add or take away from the word.
Guard your soul.
Learn to fear Yahuwah. You shall love Yahuwah with all your heart.
Bind the laws upon your hand and in front of between your eyes.
Write the laws on your doorposts.
Do not tempt Yahuwah. Do what is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah.
Do not be afraid of your enemies.
Remember Yahuwah.
Circumcise your heart. Cleave to Yahuwah.
Swear by his name.
Destroy graven images.
Do not make an idol of Yahuwah as the pagans do their Elohim. Rejoice in all Yahuwah has blessed you with.
Do not do what is right in your own eyes.
Do not hearken to the words of false prophets.
Do not make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. You shall not eat any abominable thing.
You shall give to a stranger clean food that died of itself, but you shall not eat of it.
Give tithe of your increase of seed year by year.
Laws of the end of the 7-year release. Do not borrow from the nations.
Do not harden your heart nor shut your hand from the poor.
Guard month 1 of Yahuwah's calendar.
3 times a year all males before Yahuwah.
We almost have that in stereo. Okay.
You shall make judges and officers in all your gates.
Do not put Asherah poles near the altar.
There must be 2 or 3 witnesses.
Hearken unto the prophet Yahuwah. Prophetess Deuteronomy.
Do not remove your neighbor's property line.
How to deal with a false witness among Torah keepers.
The first child is to get double portions. If your brother's cattle or clothes are lost and you find them, you must return them.
A woman shall wear what pertains to a man, nor a man wear what pertains to a woman.
If you find a bird's nest with the mother and the babies, or eggs, take the babies, but not the mother.
If you build a new house on a flat roof that will be lived on, you must put a railing around it. Do not be a prostitute.
Do not use dirty money.
The laws of divorce.
Do not take a person's millstone for a pledge. If you lend to your brother, do not enter his house to get your payment. He must bring it to you. Return his clothing before sunset, if that was his pledge.
Or need.
Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Do not expect the forgotten sheep in the field. Leave it for the stranger, fatherless, and widow. Do not muzzle your ox when he treads out grain.
If your brother dies and has no child, you shall take his wife and name the firstborn after your brother.
At the end of 7 years, you are to read the Torah at the feast of Sukkot. All right, so family, that was it. Those are those laws, statutes, and commandments that people have said are nailed to the cross or nailed to the tree, and that most people don't even know, and most people don't care to know. And so the fact that you guys have heard them, the fact you guys know them, the fact that you can use them to your life, it gives you guys an advantage over everyone else, because you've already found the truth of what the world of walking is all about. All right, now we are getting ready. Go ahead, as Eli set this up. This is, I think we have 9 chapters left until we are out of Genesis. Yeah, go ahead and get that set up, Eli. And when we are done with this Targums, I am not going to go any further into any other Targums. This is our first read of the Targums. We've never read this. We've been reading it as a family, and I really enjoy reading new things along with you guys, because we get a lot of perspective, and we get a lot of, presentation that we would not have if we sat there and did a lot of pre-reading. We probably would have never read this out as a group had we never done it. And so here is, when we go out of Genesis, I think we're going to go into yet another. I don't think we're going to ever do Targums again. There's a tremendous amount of, not a tremendous amount, but there's a lot of leaven in this. And it is something I do not want to confuse people with. And for anybody that is new to scriptures, I don't want to toss stuff in and out that is hard for people to understand. So when we get to this, and it's like we got another 9 weeks of this, so it's another couple months. But at the end of this, we're going to end the Targum side of it, and we'll continue on into Exodus, and we'll continue on through the Torah. But I think we're going to do something a little bit different with that. And so today you will get another example of the leaven. And half the family here doesn't know what I'm talking about, because Miss Nicole and Eli both read it, and they both explained it to me, and I went, no way, that can't be. And so when we get to that, we'll see what your guys' thoughts are, if you guys think that can be. Okay, and so let me see if I can get the chat back on here. There we go. I missed. It's always really bad because I can't see the chat. I get to see little bits of it.
Rhiannon said there's a new update and it looks like yours, and so she can't see half the chats anymore because it looks just like yours on a live.
YouTube jacked everything up.
Yep.
Oh, great.
It took an update.
Great, Scott. Yeah, these guys, I don't know, YouTube, and for all being the world's largest company, a company I worked for 4 years, they have every bit of, they could do much better than what they do. And, for anybody who we don't end up replying to comments, these comments come and they go. I don't even know where half the comments are. Sometimes we see them months later, and where we have as many channels as we have, the comments are just everywhere. So if you guys don't get a comment from us or something, either repost it or just wait, and I guess at some point we'll run across it. And my apologies for that, because it is kind of unprofessional not to reply to comments on this side. All right, so here we are, guys. We are into Genesis 41, and is everyone ready?
Yep.
Everyone clear?
Yep.
Ready, set, go. Okay, and it came to be at the end of 2 years' time, end of 2 years' time. Did we already mess this up? Have we proofread this?
Yeah.
We did proofread this, didn't we? Okay, well, that was 6 eyes on this right here. Okay, and it came to be at the end of 2 years' time that Pharaoh had a dream and saw him standing by the river and saw 7 cows coming up out of the river, fine looking and fat, and they fed amongst the reeds. Then saw 7 other cows coming up after them. Guys, I'm going to have to roll this out. Sorry, guys. Okay. Then saw 7 other cows coming up after them out of the river, ugly and lean of flesh, and stood by the other cows on the bank of the river. And the ugly and lean of flesh cows ate up the 7 fine-looking and fat cows. Then Pharaoh awoke, and he slept and dreamed a second time, and saw 7 heads of grain coming up on one stalk, plump and good, and saw 7 lean heads, scorched by the east wind, coming up after them. And the 7 lean heads swallowed up the 7 plump and complete heads. Then Pharaoh woke and saw it was a dream. And it came to be in the morning that his spirit was moved, and he sent and called for the magicians of Mitzrayim and all its wise people. And Pharaoh related to them his dreams, but there was no one who could interpret them for Pharaoh. Then the chief cupbearer spoke to Pharaoh, saying, I remember my crimes this day, when Pharaoh was wroth with his servants and put me in confinement in the house of the captain of the guard, both me and the chief baker. Each one of us dreamed a dream in one night, he and I. Each of us dreamed according to the interpretation of his own dream. And there was with us an Hebrew youth, a servant of the captain of the guard. And we related to him, and he interpreted our dreams for us. To each man he interpreted according to his own dream. And it came to be as he interpreted for us, so it came to be. He restored me to my office, and he hanged him. Okay, so we will start up here at the Targums at the beginning, and we will see what the Targums has to say. It was the end of 2 years that the remembrance of Joseph came before the word of Yahuwah. And Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, from the river came up 7 oxen, good-looking and fat-fleshed, and they grazed in the midst of the sedges. I don't even know what the sedges are. And then the other version of it says, grazing in the midst of the sedges. And behold, 7 other oxen came up from the river, evil-looking and lean in their flesh, and stood by the side of, it says tile oxen on this bank of the river. Is it the side of the oxen? Yeah, side of the oxen on the bank of the river. But I guess our proofing isn't too bad, because whoever did this is far worse than us. Okay, and the evil looking, as you guys can see, there's like this was the manuscript that is out there, the only one of the ones, and this is what you end up with, things like this. So, okay, and the evil looking and lean fleshed oxen devoured the 7 good looking and fat. And Pharaoh awoke from his sleep, and he slept, and a second dream. And behold, 7 ears arose on one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears thin and blighted with the east wind sprang up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 fat and full. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And in the morning his spirit was troubled. And he sent and called all the magicians of Mizraim and all the wise men. And Pharaoh told them the dreams. But no man was able to interpret it. For it was occasioned by Yahuwah, because the time had come forth that Joseph should come forth. It was the time that had come that Joseph should come forth from the house of the bound. And the chief of the cupbearers spake before Pharaoh, saying, My faults do I remember this day. It was occasioned from Yahuwah that Pharaoh was angry with his servants, and he put me in ward within the house of the chief executioner, me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he, each man his own dream, and the interpretation of his companion's dream we dreamed. And there was with us a Hebrew youth, a servant of the executioner, and we recounted to him, and he explained the dream to us. To each man be explained the interpretation of his dream. And even as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored in his sentence to the order of my service, and him he hanged. Okay, now we're heading back down to the bottom. And this is for anyone who is looking for this. This is the Hallelujah Scriptures. You guys can actually download this entire PDF for absolutely free. And there is going to be a book version of this coming out very, very soon. That is going to, as soon as Boss Clan gets done with our mission, then this will be going out. And there's actually another prison ministry that is going to be taking this scriptures and going to be delivering it into prisons for real this time. And so it's we're very exciting times, very, very exciting times. Okay, 14. Then Pharaoh sent and called to Joseph, and they hurriedly brought him out of the dungeon, and he shaved and changed his garments and came to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is no one to interpret it. Now I myself have heard it said of you that you understand a dream, to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. Let Elohim answer Pharaoh with peace. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, See, in my dream I stood on the bank of the river, and saw 7 cows coming up out of the river, fine looking and fat, and they fed amongst the reeds. Then saw 7 other cows coming up after them, poor and very ugly and lean of flesh, such ugliness as I had never seen in all the land of Mitzrayim. And the lean of flesh and ugly cows ate up the first 7, the fat cows. Yet when they had eaten them up, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were as ugly as at the beginning. Then I awoke. Also I looked in my dream and saw 7 heads coming up on one stalk, complete and good. Then saw 7 heads, withered, lean, scorched by the east wind, coming up after them. And the lean heads swallowed the 7 good heads. And I spoke to the magicians, but there was no one who could explain it to me.
Glenn says sedges are grass-like plants.
Grass-like plants. Okay, got it. Thanks, Brother Glenn. 25. And Joseph said to Pharaoh, The dream of Pharaoh is one. Elohim has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads are 7 years. It is one dream. And the 7 lean and ugly cows which came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty heads scorched by the east wind are 7 years of scarcity of food. This is the word which I spoke to Pharaoh. Elohim has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. Okay, now we're heading back up to the top. Do you have something, mystical?
Drake says after interpreting the dreams, Joseph was still in prison for 2 years. Though Yahuwah was with him, his deliverance was not immediate.
How do we know this?
I don't know.
Do we know
Are
this
we
from
talking about?
I think it means the dreams that, like, after interpreting the chief baker and the cupbearer dream.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's probably what he means. Probably after that, I believe. Okay, yeah, I think so. Yeah, and so that was part of the lack of faith that he ended up with, where he was trying to get those guys to, the one guy, to go and basically say, hey, this guy is able to interpret dreams. Get me out of this place. Mr. Cole, there's another one back there. We're trying to get our dogs.
Grant says the bread was broken and the wine was restored. So it was kind of like the whole Yehoshua thing, where we had the bread and the wine.
Right.
The bread was broken and then the wine, so it was all restored.
Yeah, that's good. Good points. Good points. Okay.
Up top now.
Where am I at? Okay. All right, back to the Targums at the top. And Pharaoh sent and called Joseph and hastened him from the prison. And he dressed his hair and changed his garments and went unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter for it, and I have saying that if thou hear a dream, thou canst explain it. Answered Pharaoh, saying, It is, without me, is not man who interprets dreams, but from before Yahuwah shall be an answer of peace unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh spake with Joseph, saying, I saw in my dream, and behold, I stood on the bank of the river. And behold, from the river came up 7 oxen, fat-fleshed and good-looking, and they grazed in the midst of the 7 of the sedges. And again, Brother Glenn says it's piles of grass or some kind of a grass.
Grass-like plants.
Grass-like plants. And the cows would definitely take out those. And behold, 7 other oxen came up after them, wasted and very evil-looking, and lean in their flesh. I have not seen the like of them in all the land of Mitzrayim for badness. And the wasted and evil oxen devoured the first 7 fat oxen. And they But it could not be known that they had entered into their stomach, for their appearance was evil as before. And I awoke, and I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears arose on one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin, blighted with the east wind, sprang up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told the magicians, but there was no one who could teach me. And Joseph said to Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. That which Yahuwah is about to do, he showeth to Pharaoh. The 7 good oxen announce 7 years, and the 7 good ears announce also those 7 years. The dream is one. And the 7 wasted and evil oxen which arose after them announced 7 other years, and the 7 ears thin and blighted with the east wind likewise make known that there will be 7 years of famine. This is the word that I speak to Pharaoh. What Yahuwah is about to do, he showeth Pharaoh. Behold.
Oh, that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, so behold, we're going to the bottom part. Okay, so here we go. So we are on 29 right there. All right, does anyone have anything here? Gentlemen at the table?
I don't think there's anything about it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory so far.
Yeah. It feels like we've read this 100 times.
Yeah.
We have. We've actually proofread these chapters so many times. I can't believe we missed that mistake of the very first one. Bad proofreaders. All right, here we go. 29. See, 7 years of great plenty are coming in all the land of Mitzrayim. But after them 7 years of scarcity of food shall arise, and all the plenty be forgotten in the land of Mitzrayim. And the scarcity of food shall destroy the land. And the plenty shall not be remembered in the land, because of the scarcity of food following, for it is very severe. And the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice, because the word is established by Elohim, and Elohim is hastening to do it. And now, let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man, and appoint him over the land of Mitzrayim. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint overseers over the land, to take up 1/5 of the land of Mitzrayim in the 7 years of plenty. And let them gather all the food of those good years that are coming, and store up grain under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And the food shall be a store for the land, for the 7 years of scarcity of food, which shall be in the land of Mitzrayim. And do not let the land be cut off by the scarcity of food. And the word was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, could we find another like him, a man in whom is the Ruach of Elohim? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since Elohim has shown you all this, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. Be over my house, you yourself, and at your word all my people shall be equipped. Only in the throne I am greater than you. All right, now we're heading back up to the top on this. And, there's a power to be said in dreams, right? There's something that, dreams fascinate me. It is the craziest thing. You always wonder who writes the scripts in your dreams. How is it that you're just always on some sort of adventure? I don't know if it's everyone out there, but it is me. There's always some sort of adventure. A lot of the adventures are things in the past that I'm just replaying. But it just seems like there's faces and names and things of all sorts of stuff that you see, and it's like almost like a whole nother world in there. And dreams are one of those things that our Creator has given to us. And I was reading the book of the Testament of Reuben again this morning in the RSTNE version of it, which again is very hard to read. But he talks about dreams, and he talks about inside of dreams being a part of fantasy and a part of reality. And it just kind of it makes sense that so many things come to so many people in their dreams that a lot of times we have to be aware of what exactly we're dreaming. And that's again the funky thing with dreams is that sometimes you just can't remember them. Sometimes you go on these great adventures in your mind at night, and you wake up and it's like, wow, that was crazy. And then 10 minutes later you can't remember where you went, what you did, and you just know that that was a crazy dream. Crazy stuff. And so hopefully one day we will be explained all of this and the meaning behind all of this and how Yah works in incredible ways. Okay, so here we go. Behold, up at the top, guys, there comes 7 years of great plenty in all the land of Mitzrayim. And after them will arise 7 years of famine, which will make all the plenty that is in the land of Mitzrayim to be forgotten, and the famine will consume the inhabitants of the land. Neither will the plenty which had been in the land be known, for the famine that will be afterward, because it will be exceedingly strong. And forasmuch as the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice, therefore is the thing confirmed before Yahuwah, and Yahuwah hastened to do it. But now, let Pharaoh look out for a prudent and wise man. I messed that up. Look out a man prudent and wise, and appoint him over the land of Mitzrayim. Let Pharaoh make superintendents over the land, and let them take out 1 part in 5 of all the produce of the land of Mitzrayim in the 7 years of plenty. And then the other version of it says, let Pharaoh make and appoint him a superintendent over the land, and let him set apart 1 in 5 throughout the land of Mitzrayim in the 7 years of plenty. I think it says the exact same thing in both these translations. I don't know, probably shouldn't read these, but I guess just to make sure we get through them. Okay, continue on. And let them collect all the produce of those good years that are coming, and gather together the produce under the hand of Pharaoh's superintendents, and set the produce in the cities to be kept. And there will be provision laid up as in a cavern in the earth, that therefrom they may take it in the years of famine, which come upon the land of Mitzrayim, that the people of the land perish not through the famine. And the word was good before Pharaoh, and before all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find a man like this, in whom is the spirit of prophecy from Yahuwah? And Pharaoh said to Joseph, since Yahuwah hath made known all this to thee, there is no one so prudent and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be superintendent over my house, and by the decree of thy mouth shall all my people be armed. Only in the throne of the kingdom will I be greater than thou. Okay, and we are heading back down to Yah Scriptures, and we're on verse 41. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have appointed you over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh took his seal ring off his hand and put it on Joseph's hand, and he dressed him in garments of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. So he just went from shackles to chains,
Right.
real chains,
and
like
there's
gold chains.
Something that doesn't mention here, but to work with Pharaoh, to be like in the land, you got to like learn languages. Like, there's like 70 languages you got to learn, and Joseph didn't know the language, all the languages. He knew a couple languages, but he didn't know them all, and so he got sent back to prison that night, and because they wanted him, but he didn't speak languages. So like until he learns languages, he can't be with us. And then, but the angel came in the jail cell and taught him like all languages overnight. He came back and was able to walk up these 70 steps. Depending on like the steps, you can walk up those languages.
Yeah, and that is one of the things is, you know, he was a foreigner to the land, right? He came out of the dungeon, right? He was an Hebrew person, and he was not of Mitzrayim. And they all have their own set of ways, as the Hebrews are supposed to have their own set of ways. And that was some of the discussion. And this is did that come out of Jasher? I think that came out of Jasher. That story came out of Jasher that Jade was talking about. There is that they were talking about it. They're like, how can this guy rule over us? Does he even speak the language of the Mitzrayim and the Mitzrayim people? And literally overnight, he was able to figure this out. And and again, it's more power of our Creator. It is the power of the human body, the understanding that our Creator can have us learn whatever we need to learn. We are functioning, capable, amazingly built creatures, and that is a good story. We should have probably found that in Jasher and read that as well. All right, let's continue on right here. And 42?
Were you down? Yeah.
Was it 42, everyone?
Yeah.
Hello? Anyone sleeping?
I know 43.
43. There, change around his neck. 43. Thanks, Eli. And he had him ride in the second chariot, which he had. And they cried out before him, bow the knee. And he appointed him over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without you let no man lift his hand or foot in all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Saphnath Paneah, something like that. Probably slaughtered that. And he gave him as wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Mitzrayim. Now Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. And in the 7 years of plenty, the ground brought forth generously. And he gathered all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Mitzrayim, and laid up the food in the cities. He laid up in every city the food of the fields which surrounded them. Thus Joseph gathered very much grain, as the sand of the sea, until he ceased counting, for it was without number. And to Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of scarcity of food came. From Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore to him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for Elohim has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, for Elohim has caused me to bear fruit in the land of my affliction. Okay, and Eli says I need to go to the top. Okay, here we are, back to the Targums. And let's see what this one says here. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have appointed the prince over the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and set it on Joseph's hand. And he clothed him in vestments of fine linen, and set a collar of gold upon his neck, and made him ride in the second chariot of Pharaoh. And they chanted before him, this is the father of the king, great in wisdom, few in years. And he appointed him prince over all the land of Mitzrayim. And the Jerusalem version says, and they chanted before him and said, live the father of the king, great in wisdom and few in years. Seems like we just said that. Okay, and Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, the king, and thou art vice regent. I don't even know what that is, but I'm assuming it's like a high in charge thing, I guess we can safely say. I'm sure someone out there would know it. And without thy word, a man shall not lift up his hand to gird on arms. All right, I just checked this up. Gird on arms. There we go. Sorry, guys. Or to mount a horse in all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh called the name of Joseph, the man who revealeth mysteries, and he gave him Asenath, whom. Hold on now. Everyone listen up here. This is the thing. And he gave him Asenath, whom Dinah had born to Shechem, and the wife of Potiphera, Prince Rabbah of Tanis, had brought up to be his wife. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. Okay, this is the one that I felt like I needed to throw my hands up there. But let's talk about this. He says, you guys catch us what this said?
Yeah, like Dinah had a daughter with Shechem.
Shechem had a. This is what they're saying.
This is
Right?
like his niece?
Yeah, so this is what they're saying.
Why is she in Mitzrayim?
Why is she in Mitzrayim? It said Potiphera, Prince Rabbah of Tanis, had brought. So this is what we're having to say is that Dinah was pregnant, and somehow the child made it back up into Mitzrayim.
Yeah, no, this is like the daughter of like Potiphera, right? The priest dude? Like he's a priest of On?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the daughter of.
Yeah, so how is that Dinah's Shechem's kid?
And you know that would be essentially, I mean, that Dinah got pregnant, and I mean we know that they recovered Dinah, right?
Yeah, I don't. But
They got Dinah back.
Yeah, they had Dinah.
So why would they ever give the daughter to some Gentiles from outside? Yeah, why from of all people, the Mitzrayim people? I mean, I don't know. Anyone in the chat? Does anyone out there have anything? This seems somewhat odd. This whole thing. And deputy of ruler. Okay, this is what he says. Perfect. That's what he's talking about. Brother Glenn was talking about what the vice gent was, administrative general. So anyway, this was the. This is very odd, right? This is where I believe there's some serious leaven into this, and
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense because I don't think they stayed in Shechem very long, right? It was only like a couple days, maybe a month of like the whole like negotiation, I think, right? And they left Shechem after they killed them all. So they're not gonna have the kid and send it off to Egypt.
It doesn't. None of this makes any sense at all. And then this is all messed up. I mean, this would be a. I don't know. This is all messed up. All right, let's continue on here. So this is probably why the grand added oddity. Yeah, definitely added oddity. All right, let's finish this up here. All right. So anyway, that's the leaven part of this thing. And Joseph went forth ruler over the land of Mitzrayim. And Joseph was a son of 30 years when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Mizraim. And Joseph went out from Pharaoh and passed a prince and a ruler through all the land of Mitzrayim. And the earth so brought forth that every blade made 2 handfuls in the 7 years of plenty until all the granaries were full. And they gathered all the produce of the 7 years of plenty which were in the land of Mitzrayim. And he laid up the produce of the cities. The produce of the fields which were round and about a city he laid up therein. And to Joseph were born 2 sons before the year of famine arose, which Asenath had been brought up in the house of Potiphera, prince of Tanis, bare to him. And Joseph called the name of his firstborn Manasseh, because Yahuwah hath made me forget all my weariness and all the house of my father. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, for he said, Yahuwah hath made me mighty in the land of my affliction, as he will make the house of my father mighty here in their afflictions. Okay. Now, we're heading back. We're finishing this up in the bottom part. And the 7 years of plenty, which were in the land of Mitzrayim, came to an end. And the 7 years of scarcity of food began to come. And Joseph had said, and the scarcity of food was in all lands, but in all the land of Mitzrayim there was bread. But when all the land of Mitzrayim hungered, and the people cried to Pharaoh for bread, Pharaoh said to all the Mitzrites, go to Joseph, do whatever he says to you. And the scarcity of food was over all the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold to the Mitzrites. And the scarcity of food was severe in the land of Mitzrayim. Sounds like there's some repeats here. And all the earth came to Joseph in Mitzrayim to buy grain because the scarcity of food was severe in all the earth. All right, I think that's just said the same thing 3 times in a row. All right, and here we go. We'll finish this off. And the 7 years of plenty were completed, which were to come to an end in the land of Mitzrayim, and the 7 years of famine began to be, as Joseph had said. And there was famine in all the lands. But in all the land of Mitzrayim there was bread, and all the land of Mitzrayim had dearth, because the seed wheat bare no fruit. And the people cried before Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said to all the Mitzrayim, Go to Joseph, and he shall tell you do. And the famine was upon all the face of the land, and Joseph opened all the treasures and sold to the Mitzrayim. And the famine waxed mighty in the land of Mitzrayim, and all the inhabitants of the earth came into Mitzrayim to buy provision of Joseph, for the famine was mighty in all the earth. Okay, well, that is it for us, our family and friends. We thank you guys very, very much. And yeah, I agree with Jeremy on this. I don't like the Targums. I don't. By the time we made it to the end of this, I'm not a huge fan of this, and it seems to bring in a lot of leaven. There is some stuff that we have been able to confirm and to figure out that was definitely hidden from us. And I don't know if that is something good that we bring to everybody to study with as far as that goes, because a lot of folks are brand new into all of this stuff, and this is where I don't want to bring confusion to folks. For those who are studied in the Torah and studied in scriptures and things of that nature, those are definitely red flags. Those are things that that just don't pass the smell test. And so anyway, I guess that is it. If does anyone else in the chat, Mr. Cole, do you have anything?
Bobby Z just popped in.
Hey, Bobby Z. Chris from the Bobby Z channel. Much love to you, brother. Chris is one of the guys that helped us put together all these scriptures. Much love to him. He is out there always exposing these hoaxes over in the UK area. And yeah, guys, so I guess with this, we're all going to say goodbye. We love you guys very, very much. We thank you guys for hanging out with us. We really, really appreciate you all. And we hope that you guys have a wonderful Shabbat. To anybody that's celebrating Shavuot tomorrow, happy Shavuot to you guys. May you have a wonderful feast day, and may us all gather again together along next week. And we love you. So, Eli, what's your closing with?
Want to run the heavens?
Yeah, let's rend the heavens. All right, guys. Much love. right, everybody. Eli, kick us.
Alright. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, speaking of Aaron and his sons, saying, on this wise you shall bless the children of Yasharel, saying unto them, Yahuwah bless you and guard you, Yahuwah may his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you, Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Yasharel, and I will bless them.
All right, guys, we love you very much. May Yahuwah bless you. May he keep you. May his light forever shine upon you. May his ways forever enhance your life. May the faith of Messiah Yahushua make your life emboldened, and may you guys forever be in the kingdom road, and may we all meet up in the kingdom to come. Much love to you all. We're out.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.